Got another question up on our Facebook page. The big news Friday, Kyle Whittingham stepping down. Didn't use the word retire. What does that mean? Could mean many things.
He's going to Michigan.
What should Kyle do next? Oh, yeah, we got Michigan comments. Larry, be the next coach at Michigan. Larry thinks the Wolverines are in his future. I find that hard to believe. Bruce, coach Michigan, win a couple of Big Ten titles. Michael, take the Michigan job. I don't think Kyle would go to Michigan with the goal of winning a couple of Big Ten titles. He'd go to Michigan with the goal of winning it all.
Chasing the big dog.
Chasing the big dog. Kyle, man. Go big or go home when it comes to Kyle in football. I remember having a conversation with him. It was off season, and he was talking about, I can't remember how he was saying, but it was basically about how we got to do this, we got to get great, we got to blah, blah. And I'm like, Kyle, you've already done it, man. You went undefeated and took a team to the Sugar Bowl. You don't. And I look up at him, and the look in his eyes, man. I'm like, oh, he's going to treat me like a tackling dummy. You let it go, but man, at no moment do you show weakness and think of anything less than excellence. And if you're going to do what he did, how else do you get there, right? How do you get the job? How do you get out of Idaho State and get the job at Utah and get the defensive coordinator job and get the head coaching job and get into the Pac-12 and win the Pac-12 and go to the Rose Bowl? And how do you hang with Ohio State and play a 3-point game when you're out of defensive backs? And you got to convert a running back, and they got an NFL quarterback and NFL receivers, and you're still in a 3-point game? That's the attitude you have to have. So while many of you want to see him go to Michigan, David has the job that I don't think there's any way Kyle takes. Get himself into the playoff committee to bring some balance to the selection process. Travis, I'm sure Utah State will have a coaching job. Bronco's been there 1 year. I'm sure he'll be moving on. That would surprise me if he did that again. I was surprised he did it once. I'd be really surprised if Bronco did it again. Extraordinary circumstances, closer to home, closer to family. Okay. One time I get that. But you're not going to have two extraordinary circumstances. A lot of you think you're funny. Anthony, I hear they're looking for a defensive coordinator for the University of Utah. We got that 4 or 5 times. Brian, he's likely going to be looking over Morgan's shoulder. I think he will make a concerted effort not to do that. And we've seen other people in this community make a concerted effort not to do that. I mean, we have Chris Hill on to talk about stuff and where college athletics is going. And with Chris has one of his kids is working for ESPN in the middle of the whole roiling of the TV industry. So Chris has interesting perspectives, but we've called him for some other stuff, and he's like, "No, that's a Mark Harlan deal. You gotta talk to Mark. I don't want to weigh in on that one." He's turned me down at least twice, maybe 3 times. And what's going on?
And the same thing happened down at BYU. Remember, we tried to get.
We did. I was about to go to that next. We just asked Tom to come on recently, and Tom's like, "Not yet." He's just high in the halls, see him at games, but he's just like,
he didn't want to step on Brian Santiago's toes.
Stepping on toes, casting the long shadow, so he took a pass. Larry put the correct answer. What should Kyle Whittingham do next? Whatever he wants. Well, with one obvious exception. If he wants to keep coaching Utah football. Can't do that. But what else? It is interesting to see. I think, seriously, there's multiple paths I could see him going down. I remember talking to him in his 40s, and he was talking about wanting to coach in the NFL one day to see what that was like. You know, test yourself in that arena. That's a whole different thing. It's older guys, a lot of money, a lot of egos, but you also have every minute all day to work on football. There isn't the other stuff. The coaches don't have to do the fundraising meet with boosters. The players don't have to go to class and study. So you got them. You got them all day. Now, there was a time I brought that up with him maybe 10 years ago, and he's like, yeah, it kind of feels like that ship sailed. So I remember saying it, and I remember thinking and feeling it, but sometimes life works out how it works out. But I wonder now, he's got to be, how connected do you think Kyle is in the NFL? Because I'm pretty sure he knows scouts at all 32 teams, and I'll bet most GMs, when they were scouts, came through Utah at some point to see some of his players. He's obviously well connected with the Chiefs. I mean, his kid works for the Chiefs. One of his kids works for the Chiefs. And he knows Andy Reid from BYU and goes back there. He's been to Chiefs home games, and he's gone to the Chiefs in the offseason and talked football with Andy. So he's connected there, but that's not the only place he's got connections. So I think going to the NFL and coaching is one thing. I think if he wants to do media, he'd be good at it. TV, radio, podcasting, whatever he wants to do. He came on our show when he was defensive coordinator. He was on with DJ and PK every week. He picked games. By the way, somebody could put him in the Jimmy the Greek role. He'd be excellent at that. Excellent. I can remember specific picks he made and why he made them way out in front of the curve. When Colorado State was really good, they played Miami of Ohio. And Colorado State had a good run at this point. Their image was up. It was as good as being said, Miami's going to win because they got a quarterback whose name is hard to say, and nobody's heard of him yet, but he's going to be a star in the NFL. That was the first time I heard of Ben Roethlisberger. I think it was Ben's – I don't think it was his last year in school. I can't remember if he came out after 3 or 4. I think he played 4. It would have been his junior year. And if he came out after his junior year, it would have been his sophomore year, I think. He was just breaking out on the scene. It was obviously early in the season. Kyle called it. And then there's Reid. He'll be called as a mission president. Follow Steve Cleveland off to, where did Steve, Indianapolis?
Indianapolis.
Yeah, Steve went to Indianapolis.
Now, Kyle still got some time and money on a deal with Utah to finish out there.
That is here. He's going to be assistant athletic director, special assistant, Jesse says. Going to be making the big money. Run around the stadium on game day, shake hands, sit in luxury booths, entertain people. Give people pregame predictions. Watch for this. This is what's going to happen today.
Go golf during the summer with these boosters. Yeah.
Ton of people. Golf. Ride your Harley. Yeah. All right, DJ and PK. You can hit us up on Facebook. David DJ James, DJ and PK. And on Twitter at David DJ James. We'll get more of your answers coming up later in the show. What should Kyle Whittingham do next? Coming up next, we're going to talk hoops with Steve Cleveland. We're in the dog days of college hoops. And the Jazz win on the road. Should you be excited about that or scared of that? DJ and PK, it's 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.